Hey, what's going on? It is 12 noon on Wednesday, which means it's time for this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. Every Wednesday, 12 noon Eastern Time, we come to you live, to our current students, to our past students, as well as our future students, to help you get a better understanding of the technical side of the real estate industry. And what we're talking about today is real estate commission. What the purpose of this commission is, how to calculate it, the different ways to calculate it, when you get paid the commission, who pays the commission, everything commission related, because that's a big reason why a lot of people get into real estate is to make commission checks. So that's what we're talking about today. I'm really excited to bring this episode to you. I'm John Chrismo. The show's brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate, and you're watching Ask the Instructor.
You are watching
Ask the Instructor. Every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time. I'm John Chrismo. You're watching Ask the Instructor. Hello, my friends. Welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. Every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time, we come to you live to help you get a better understanding of the technical side of the real estate industry, and we call this Power Hour Ask the Instructor. We've been doing this show for over a year now. You can go on, really the best place to go to find any of our previous episodes of Ask the Instructor is tampaschool.com/success. Again, that's tampaschool.com/success. You can find all the previous episodes of Ask the Instructor, as well as State of Real Estate, as well as all kinds of videos, articles, calculators, all kinds of tools we have to help you plan for your success in the real estate industry. What we're talking about today is real estate commission, really everything about real estate commission. Because why is commission important? Well, real estate commission is how you get paid as a real estate professional. No commission, no money. And no one's getting the real estate license not to make any sort of money. Even if you have altruistic intentions to help others, you still need to get paid because you still have yourself and your family to feed, as well as your business expenses as well. So you need commission to even if you're going to operate as some sort of nonprofit brokerage. Probably not the case. You're probably in this because you want to make $100,000 a year, maybe $250,000, maybe $500,000. Maybe you're looking to make $1 million a year. There's real estate agents out there, real estate teams that are absolutely doing that. It all comes back to real estate commission. So this is something you need to know inside and out, knowing how it works, when it's paid, what it's for, why you're charging a commission, why people are paying you a commission, and calculating that commission. Because this is really, this is the biggest, probably most important number to your business. Because without this, your business can absolutely fall apart, or it may never get started. You never get a commission check. Your business really never did any business. That's your proof that you actually did some business. So let's talk about how this typically works with a residential transaction, because residential transactions make up a majority of the market share, especially in this market that we have in Tampa right now. A lot of transactions. We're going to also talk about the commercial side of this as well as, in addition, as well as renting. Let's start out just talking about residential sales. So in a residential sale, the person who sets the commission rate is going to be the listing agent. Now, who is the listing agent? The listing agent is really the seller's agent. This is really the seller's agent. So when you have somebody that comes to you and says, hey, look, I want to sell my house. I see you have a real estate license, or I heard you have a real estate license, or I heard you're in real estate, I heard you're a realtor, whatever it is that they're going to say, can you help me sell my house? Or, it might be a few other ways this goes about it. And maybe you're going to them, hey, do you need to sell your house? I can help you sell your house. But eventually you're going to get to this point where you're setting your commission rate. And now the commission rate is always negotiated. It's always a negotiated amount between your brokerage and your client. Always a negotiated amount. Now, with this commission, it's broken up into two sides. Really, we have here's our house. And let's say the total commission rate that's agreed to is 6%. So if the total commission rate that's agreed to is 6%, that means that this is going to be split between the listing side and the buying side. Because there's typically two agents and two separate brokerages involved in most transactions. In most transactions, not all. We'll talk about that in a second. So what typically happens is you would go on this listing appointment, get this seller to agree to pay the 6% commission, a 7% commission, a 5% commission, whatever it is that you agree, get them to agree to. And not only are you coming to an agreement on what the total commission is going to be, but also what the split is going to be between your brokerage and the brokerage that's representing the buyer. Now, the way this would typically work, although this can be negotiated, is 3% would go to you, and then 3% would go to the brokerage that's representing the buying side. Now, what happens if you find the buyer? If you list the property for sale and you're doing such a great job marketing the property for sale that you also find the buyer for the property. Absolutely possible, and it happens, I would say, every day. I don't have official statistics on that, so don't quote me on it, but I would say that happens every day. Somewhere, someplace, every day, somebody double ends their commission. And what that means is you get the 3% for listing it, as well as the 3% for helping somebody buy it. So you're getting that full 6%. But what typically happens, because I know everyone wants to double their commission, don't count on that. It's nice if it does happen, and try to make that happen because you'll get it sold a lot quicker either way. But most of the time what happens is you're going to put the property in the MLS system, and the MLS system is the database between brokers. It's the database between brokers and only brokers, and there's a few special other people that can maybe get into this sometimes as well, but primarily only brokers that can access the MLS to see what properties are available for sale and also what the cooperating commission is going to be. So the real estate industry is designed to be very cooperative. The MLS actually dates back to the late 1800s. And you might say, well, John, wait a minute. The MLS, it's a computer-based system. How did they have that in the 1800s? They didn't have electricity in most houses in the late 1800s. And you're right. It was never originally a computer system. It wasn't even the booklets that we had before we had computers. Back in the 90s, it was great big books of listings that you would have that would get mailed to you. That would be out of date after a few days of having them. So what originally happened was, back in the late 1800s, what used to happen before this advent, before this this brand new thing called the multiple listing service existed, we didn't have really a cooperation or any cooperative system between brokers. A broker would list a property for sale, and the broker would be trying to find the buyer for the property. And they would probably get that full 6% commission or whatever the going rate was, or whatever rate it was that they charged back in the late 1800s. But that makes it extremely difficult. The MLS system is so powerful because you're only one person, and you might have 10, maybe 15, maybe 20 buyers. Hey, if you're a rock star agent, maybe you've got 30 or 40 buyers looking to buy homes. But you're just one agent. There's other agents out there that might also have 30 or 40, or maybe only 5 or 10. But there's thousands of other agents out there that have buyers that are looking to buy a home. So by putting the property into the MLS, you're saying, hey, look, I'm putting into this cooperative system. This is the percentage at which we're cooperating. If you bring a buyer, you'll receive that 3%. This is already pre-negotiated. You don't have to go in trying to negotiate a sale, and that's why the MLS is so crucial to the real estate industry. Sales would happen at a lot slower pace. It would take a lot longer if there wasn't an MLS system, because you'd basically be calling up every property for sale, every listing agent, and trying to negotiate for them to pay you some sort of money. Hey, what are you paying me? Oh, well, all right, well, how come you won't pay me? And none of that. It's already predetermined in advance. It's a cooperative system. The real estate industry is very cooperative, and it is very helpful. I've been in several industries and several businesses before real estate, and I've never seen any cooperation among competitors like there is in the real estate industry. And because a lot of time you're not competing directly with one another, you're cooperating with one another on a sale. You're cooperating probably more often than you're competing in real estate. So that's get split there. And let's put some dollar amounts behind this here. Let's put some dollar amounts behind this so we get an understanding of what this works. So 6% of what? It's 6% of the sale price. So 6% of the sale price, let's say that this home is listed for, let's say $300,000. A fairly average priced home. Nothing too extravagant, and definitely homes available that are less than that for around an average price home. Maybe in your market, that is a cheap home. Maybe in your market, $500,000 or $600,000 is average. It depends on where it is that you're practicing. But 6% of $300,000, just pull out our handy dandy calculator here. 1% of that is going to be, $3,000. So we should have about, $18,000 I think this is going to be. Let's just go ahead and double check our math because I know my mind likes to play tricks on me as well. 300,000 times 0.06. Yeah, we've got $18,000. So that's our 6% commission. That gives us $18,000. $18,000 is the total commission. That's the total payout that your brokerage would receive if you're representing the buyer and the seller. Now, listing the property for sale, that's going to get split. And in this case, it's a 50-50 split. Half of it goes to the listing agent, half of it goes to the buying agent. So we've got $18,000 being the total 6%. That means we would have $9,000 over on the listing side and $9,000 over on the buying side. And those two together add up to the $18,000. Now, unless you're a broker, you're probably going to have a split or some sort of system where your broker is taking a percentage of the commission. And you might say, why does the broker take a percentage of commission? What makes them so great that they take a percentage of your commission? Look, there's 100% brokers out there, so you could find a broker that doesn't take a cut of your commission, but they will charge you some sort of monthly fee. So we'll talk about the whole purpose of having a broker, why you should give your broker a percentage split if you're new to the real estate industry, and ultimately get a better understanding of this whole real estate commission stuff. So stick with us. I'm John Chrismo. You're watching Ask the Instructor.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com. Does your current career allow for unlimited income potential? With a career in real estate, the sky is the limit. What you put in is what you get out. Find out more about how you can tap into the unlimited income potential of a career in real estate at tampaschool.com.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
Ask the Instructor. Every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time. I'm John Chrismo. You're watching Ask the Instructor. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. I'm John Chrismo, and the show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. What we do every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time is come to you live, to our current students, to our previous students, as well as our future students, to help you get a better understanding of the technical side of the real estate industry, because it is a very technical industry. There's a lot to learn. I learn something new about real estate every single day, and I've been doing this as long as I can remember. So there's so much information that's out there, and after you go through your pre-licensing course, you're going to learn so much about real estate, you're going to think that you know it all. You'll find out quickly that you don't, that there's a lot that you don't know, that there's still so much to learn. And then maybe you'll take some more training classes, and again, you'll think, okay, I know everything. And then you'll find out again, okay, I don't know everything. So the sooner it is that you could find out, okay, there's information out there for me to learn. Let me try to absorb this information. Let me take this in because this is going to help me perfect my craft. You're going to be such a better agent from the beginning. So start your real estate career that way. If you don't have your real estate license yet, go into it with a yearning for more knowledge. What's going to make me more successful? What's going to help me get my real estate license the fastest? What's going to make me the most money? What's going to provide the best service to my clients? There's so much information out there for you to learn. And we've got 1 hour of it every Wednesday at 12 noon. So make sure you subscribe to us if you haven't already. You could actually view all the previous episodes of Ask the Instructor as well as State of Real Estate at tampaschool.com/success. Again, that's tampaschool.com/success. That's our success center. That's where we help you plan for your success in the real estate industry. We've got all these previous episodes, articles, calculators, all kinds of things that I highly recommend you check out. So again, that's tampaschool.com/success. But let's get back into the real estate commission topic today. So what we talked about so far is just a very simple residential sale situation. We've got a 6% commission on, let's say, $300,000 house, $9,000 to the listing agent, $9,000 to the buying agent. But that's how much money that goes to not necessarily the agent, to the brokerage. And then we're going to have another split. And this additional split is going to split the commission of this $9,000, let's say, on the listing side, of a certain percentage going to the broker and a certain percentage going to the associate, whether that's a sales associate or broker associate. Now, what's the purpose of this? Why is this existing where we're sharing our money? Oh, well, it's a cooperative industry, but why do we want to have to cooperate this much where we're giving somebody else the percentage of the money it is that we earned? Well, that's the wrong way to look at it. Your broker is there. They provide the knowledge, the tools, the experience, the mentoring, the things it is that you need to help you earn that $9,000, to help the brokerage earn the $9,000. So they're really not taking the money from you. They're helping you earn the money, or they should be helping you earn the money. We've got a whole, if you take a course with us, we've got a whole set of tools available to help you choose a real estate broker, to find a broker that will ultimately help you achieve success, and that's not just going to be there to take money from you. That's not the type of broker you need to be with, is just a broker that's taking money from you. You need a broker that you're sharing in the money it is that they helped you earn, whether that's through their trainings, through their tools, through their marketing, through the leads it is maybe that they help you generate, or maybe that they generate for you. There's a lot of different ways that the broker could aid in your success and help you in your success. And it's really crucial, especially as a new agent, that you have a broker that does have some sort of split, because they're all also 100% brokers. Let's say over on this side, we've got a little bit more experienced agent. On the buying side, let's say that this is a very experienced agent and they're with some sort of 100% brokerage. So what that would mean is that the broker gets nothing and the sales associate or broker associate gets the whole $9,000. Now over on the listing side, we'll just notate over here, this is an experienced agent. Let's say that this is a new agent, and the new agent, let's say that our percentages here are 100% and 0%. Let's say that in this situation, the sales associate gets 70% and the broker gets 30%. So we've got a 70-30 split. That's a common ballpark to see with a lot of split brokers. It might be a little bit higher than that for the associate, maybe 80-20 or maybe 60-40, maybe 70-30, maybe 75-25, who knows what it is. It depends on the broker and what it is that they're pricing at, what they're providing you. So let's say it's the 70-30 split, and let's see how this differs. So we've got $9,000 here. So $9,000... just going to multiply that by 70% as a decimal, which is just going to be 0.70 or 0.7, and we're going to get $6,300. And that's going to leave us with $2,700 going to the broker. So let me ask you this. As a associate, as a sales associate, would you rather have $6,300 or $9,000? Well, I'm asking the wrong question, because we're not comparing apples to apples here. A new agent does not have the same knowledge that an experienced agent has. And really the question should be, it's not should I get $6,300 or should I get $9,000, because everyone would pick $9,000 every time. It should be, should I get $9,000 or should I get $0 because I didn't know what to do, I didn't have the proper tools, I never got the lead in the first place, there was something that the broker could have provided that I didn't get. As a new agent, this isn't the situation I recommend that you go in, unless you have experience from maybe another state that working in real estate, and even then you might want to be in a split. There's a lot of experienced agents that have a commission split, and the reason is because the broker provides some sort of tool, maybe it's ongoing training, maybe it's some sort of support, maybe they answer the phone calls for them. There's a lot of ways that the broker could structure their business to truly benefit you as the agent, and that's how it should be. It should be there to benefit you as the agent. Because again, the thought process here isn't that the broker's taking $2,700 from you, they're helping you earn $6,300. They're helping the brokerage earn $9,000, to which you get $6,300. And a good brokerage that at least wants to keep its agents should have some sort of plan that after you sell so much, your commission split goes up, because again, it depends on what it is that you're getting in exchange for that 30% of your commissions. Or maybe it gets to the point where you just want to change brokers and you just want to change to a 100% broker. Now, usually there's maybe some sort of transaction fee or Arizona emission insurance fee, or maybe a monthly fee or an annual fee or some sort of way, because the broker's always there to make some sort of money. That's what they're in business to do. They're making money off of helping agents sell property. And that degree of help is going to vary based on how much money it is that they earn. Now, in this situation over here, the broker is counting on you selling something to make the $2,700. The broker wants that $2,700. They should want the $2,700. So they're more motivated to help you out than a broker would be in a 100% type of brokerage. This is very attractive, but as a new agent, you want somebody that has a vested interest in your success, somebody that's there to be there to help you and assist you in any way it is that they can, to provide tools it is that you need. So that's how this breaks down on our side of this. Now, overall, for the seller, ultimately, they're going to see a charge, a debit they'll see on their closing statement for $18,000. Now, how much is the buyer going to pay for commission? Typically nothing. $0. In most real estate transactions with this cooperative system, with the MLS, we already have an agreement from the seller to pay the total 6% commission. So the seller's paying that $18,000, the buyer pays nothing. Ultimately, it is the buyer's money that's paying for this commission because they're the one giving the money, and now out of that money the seller has received, that's where the commission is being paid out of. So you could kind of look at it either way. But out of pocket, the buyer doesn't pay any money for the commission. So that makes it really attractive, because everyone loves free, right? We wanted the free brokers back when we were talking about this here. We want the broker that doesn't charge anything. Well, when you're working with a buyer, you really do charge nothing. You can charge maybe some sort of retainer fee or deposit or something like that up front if you'd like, but typically there's no charges, no fees to the buyer, and they get your services, no charge. Now, there will be some closing cost. There typically is some sort of closing cost that you have as a buyer, so it's important to understand how that closing statement would break down, just so you have an understanding of how much money the buyer does have to come to closing with, not just the down payment, but these other closing costs they would have in addition to that. But the seller would be paying this total commission, and that's how a residential sale works. That's how the commission is structured for that. And that's about it. Now, there's a few other ways, a few more in-depth ways that we could look at commission and kind of really turn this into something much more complicated. And that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to talk about how you can earn commission. This one's actually relatively simple as well. How you can earn commission helping a renter find a property, and how that's determined and how that's calculated. So that's another thing we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about commission on commercial property, on a commercial sale, which ultimately is going to be pretty similar to this, and also on commercial leases, which is going to be similar, but it's a little bit different. So we're going to talk about how to calculate those all out. But first, we're going to take a quick commercial break, so stick with us. I'm John Carissimo. You're watching Ask the Instructor.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com. Does your current career allow for unlimited income potential? With a career in real estate, the sky is the limit. What you put in is what you get out. Find out more about how you can tap into the unlimited income potential of a career in real estate at tampaschool.com.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
Ask the Instructor. Every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time. I'm John Carissimo. You're watching Ask the Instructor. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. I'm John Carissimo, and this show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. Every Wednesday, 12 noon Eastern Time, we come to you live to help you understand the technical side of the real estate industry. And today we're talking about real estate commission. So far what we've covered is just a typical residential sale, which really isn't that complex. You have your total commission. It's split between the two offices, the two brokerage, the buying and listing brokerages, and then within each brokerage, it's split between the broker and the associate at some point, even 100% and 0%. That is a percentage split. So that's how it works in a residential transaction. Now, before we talk about the commercial transactions, before we talk about renting, the commercial transactions, one thing I want to tie up and end on with this here, and this is one final thing with commission, and it's very important for you to understand, is why the seller's paying that $18,000. What is the purpose of this $18,000? It's not because they have to. It's not because they have to, because they don't have to. The law doesn't require them to be represented by a real estate professional. They can do it their own. But let's say they don't have the necessary information to do it on their own. They don't know how to transfer property. There we go. We have our need. They need us because they don't know how to transfer property. But now what else is it that they need? Because is the handling of the documents worth $18,000? There's not a lot of administrative fees that end up totaling $18,000. And this is only for a $300,000 house. If we turn that into a $600,000 house, that's $36,000 in commission for a 6% commission. So we've got the transfer of property. Yes, that's important. What else is important? Marketing the property. Very important. And your skills in marketing can greatly set you apart from other real estate professionals. Because that might be what's important for understanding why they should pay this $18,000. Because maybe you have another agent that you are competing with. Like I said, this industry is very cooperative, but there will be some occasions where you are competing with other agents. And one of those situations may be when you and another agent are both interviewing to get a listing. And you might be a great agent, or you at least say you're a great agent, and you charge 6%, and that's the rate it is that you want to charge. But this other agent, who also says they're a great agent, says that they'll do it for 5%. And that's a big difference. That's $3,000 less. That'd be $15,000 versus $18,000. That'll cover a lot of the other closing costs. It'll be a lot of other things that are paid for by that. So why should they pay more for you? What's worth that extra $3,000 for you? Well, the marketing is one part of this. The marketing is really a big part of this, because the more exposure you could gain for this property. Now, putting in the MLS is going to get an immense amount of exposure, but everyone could put the property in the MLS. Everyone knows how to put the property in the MLS. There's classes on how to put the property in the MLS that you have to take to put stuff in the MLS. So it's very simple, and every agent knows how to, or has an administrator at their office who knows how to put it in the MLS. So that's going to get done. What are you going to do that's going to set you apart from other agents, that's going to help gain further exposure for the property. And what's the benefit of you getting that further exposure for the property? Well, by you going out of your way to market this, maybe putting an ad in the paper, maybe Craigslist ads, maybe Facebook ads, maybe some sort of landing page that's geared specifically towards it, maybe you're doing videos of the property. There's a lot of ways it is that you could set yourself apart and get further exposure for the property. And what's likely to happen is you won't just get the 3% commission. In certain cases, if you market it enough and you gain enough exposure, your name and your phone number should be attached to that exposure. It really legally has to be. You at least have to have the name of your office in any sort of real estate advertisement, but definitely put your name and your phone number in there as well, so that way you could capitalize on this extra 3%. And you now ask yourself, was that extra exposure, was that extra marketing that I did worth $9,000? Probably. It's a lot of marketing to spend $9,000 in extra marketing. So worst case scenario, you break even with the marketing it is that you're spending, but what you're doing is you're marketing your business. You're gonna reach further people to help get you more sellers, more buyers. So the money that you're spending to market this property is going to help you market yourself and your business as well. So even if you spend $9,000 and you end up finding the buyer, you'll just break even. But even if you don't find the buyer, you're still marketing your business. You just spent the commission check basically marketing and reinvesting in yourself, which isn't such a bad thing. But don't give up on that. Continue to gain further exposure on all of your listings, because not every single listing is going to get sold also by you. But the more exposure it is that you give for the property, the more likely it is you're going to double your commission. And the more likely it is you're going to get the listing in the first place, because you're explaining to them all the extra things it is that you do that a typical agent would not do. And that makes your commission worth more to them. And another angle to go at this as well with that other agent that's maybe saying, oh, well, I'll do this for 5% instead of the 6% it is that other agent's charging. Look, if they're willing to give up the price on their services, what do they think they're going to do when they're negotiating with the buyer? If they're negotiating with the buyer, they're very likely, if they're giving up their price, they're probably going to give up your price. And you can tell that to your seller. Well, look, if they're not willing to negotiate their commission, if they're not doing everything they can to get them paid the highest amount, what makes you think that they're going to try any harder to get you paid your full price? So not only from a marketing standpoint can you differentiate yourself, but also from a negotiation standpoint can you differentiate yourself. A knowledge standpoint you can differentiate yourself. There's a lot of ways it is that you can differentiate yourself to charge a higher commission. Hey, maybe it's not 6% commission it is that you're charging. Let's go through this. I know I said we're going to talk about the commercial stuff, but we still have got time for that. Let's say instead of a 6% commission, you're charging a 7% commission. Oh, can you do that? Yeah, you can do that. You can charge 8, 9, 10%. Remember, it's a negotiated amount that you get the seller to agree to pay. So yeah, you could get a 7% commission. Now, with that 7% commission, how would the rest of this look? Do we still have to split this 50-50? No, you don't. You could take this 7% and split it up to make it 3.5 and 3.5, an even split, an extra 0.5%, an extra $1,500 to each side of this here, then make that $10,500 on each side. Or what you could do, and you might look at this initially and say, well, that's not fair. Well, I mean, if you think of you spending money to market the property, it's maybe the reason why you're charging that extra 1%, and you're getting the extra 1%, and you're just keeping this agent here at 3%. So maybe you're still paying out a 3% to your buyer, to your buyer's agent, but you're keeping 4% for yourself. So instead of your commission being $9,000, your commission would now be $12,000. This one would still be $9,000. $9,000 here, $12,000 here. And that's from you being able to be the best, to really differentiate yourself, to adding additional services that you're doing that makes it worth more for the seller. And now when we get down to these splits down here, now instead of just, if we still got the 70-30 split here, because we all know that would be $12,000 if it was 100% split. Let's say we take that $12,000 and we put it on a 70-30 split. Well, the broker, they're going to get a little bit more money as well. They're going to be bumped up to $3,600. And you as the agent, it's no longer just $6,300. It's going to be $8,400. $8,400 instead of $6,300 because you brought in $12,000 total because you're charging that extra 1%, which is going directly to you. Now, granted, what you should be doing with this is you should be charging this for differentiation of your services. You could even have maybe packages that you offer to your sellers and say, okay, well, at 6%, this is what I do. But if you pay a 7% commission, these are the extra services that I'll do that'll help get further exposure for your property, that'll help us sell it for a higher price, that'll ultimately help us sell it quicker, that will help make this process a little smoother. Maybe you're offering some sort of additional incentive to them with this package or whatever it is, that because you're charging a 7% commission. Look, however it is that you want to structure, you could get creative. There's a lot of ways that you could make yourself worth more money. And you could still split it like this, and you just put that in your listing agreement that 4% is going to go to the listing brokerage and 3% would go to the buying brokerage. And that's all it is that you've got to do. And what you should be doing is that extra money it is that you're earning, you should be reinvesting into your business, reinvesting it into the marketing. Market this property. That's going to make your seller happy when you're marketing the property, but also include your name, your phone number, and that you're a realtor in there, and as well as the name of your brokerage. So that way you get further exposure. You get more sellers, you get more buyers with this. Really, in any situation, regardless of the split, take that listing as an opportunity to get exposure for your business. So let's talk about the commercial side of this a little bit. That's the residential, and I want to leave it at that. We'll talk more about this maybe on Friday about being worth more money, because I know that's always something that will make your job easier when you're trying to charge more money, is being worth more money. If you see something that seems like a deal, when you see that there's value in something, maybe you see something that's on sale, maybe you know that to get this it normally costs this, but when it's on sale for this, oh wow, that's a deal, I have to get it now, not even thinking about it. Or maybe it's something that's worth money to you. Maybe the average person wouldn't buy a $5,000 stove, but maybe you're some sort of professional cook and having this stove adds extra value to you, so it's worth the $5,000. You don't even think about it, spending that extra money for it. So that's the thought process you have to keep in mind. What makes you worth more than $12,000? Because if you make yourself worth more than $12,000, the $12,000 it is that you're charging, or the $18,000, or if we add that extra percentage in there, the $21,000, whatever it may be that you're charging, what makes you worth more than that? So you're a deal for your clients. But let's talk about renting now. That's the sales. Tune in on Friday for State of Real Estate. We'll definitely talk about that, how to make yourself worth more, to make more money. I'm excited to talk about that on State of Real Estate, so make sure you tune in on Friday for that. But let's talk about residential rentals. And look, we're not talking about property management here. Property management is the service that you do for the landlord. We're talking about working for the renter. Now, just like when you're in a sale and you're representing the buyer, that you're getting paid by the seller of the property, that's pretty much the same way that this works when you're dealing with rentals. When you're dealing with rentals, that renter is essentially the buyer, and the landlord, the property manager, they're on the selling side of this, except for it's owning and renting when we're talking about rentals. So the way that this works out is not as cut and dry. It's still fairly simple, but it's not as easy to understand it, and as much information that's out there in practice as there is with sales. Now, for the rental side, typically you, again, would use your MLS system. You would use your MLS system to find rentals, and that's the best place to go. You could look at other places to find rentals, but the best places to find the rentals, especially cooperating rentals, is going to be in the MLS system, because if they're in the MLS, they're there to cooperate. That's why they're there, and it'll say right in the MLS listing how much money it is that you get paid for helping the renter. And what this can be, how much could it be for helping a renter? It could be anywhere from, let's say about, for an average residential home, anywhere from as low as $50. So yeah, in some cases for the cheaper houses, they don't pay too much, only $50, which might not be worth your time. But all the way of, let's say, $5,000 and up. Really, they can go higher than $5,000. But we'll say average price types of rentals up to about $5,000. And how this is determined, it might just be a flat amount that they say, okay, 50 or 250 or 500. They might determine some sort of flat amount right there. Or they could say 1 month rent. Or the really exciting one is 2 months rent. So usually with the ones paying a certain month's rent, these are usually your newer developments where they have a lot of properties, a lot of units, and they want to get them rented out as quickly as possible, as fast as possible. They want tenants in there paying rent because right now they don't have anybody in there and they're losing money on every unit when they don't have people in there. These situations up here, the $50, $250, $500, maybe $100, $150. It depends. Maybe it's the application fee it is that they're charging, and that's what they're using to pay the commission to you. This is typically when you're looking at older apartments that are well established, single family homes that are rented out. That's where you might see these $50, $250, $500, these flat rates that are in there where they're not starving for tenants. If they're not starving for tenants, they're not going to pay you some sort of ridiculous commission. But there are places that will. So in the Tampa Bay area, there's a lot of places in like the downtown, Harbor Island, Bayshore Boulevard, a lot of this area in like down or surrounding downtown Tampa and the new Water Street. I think I said Channel Side. Water Street's supposed to be the new name. I'm still trying to get used to saying that instead of saying Channel Side. But there's a lot of developing going on with apartments there. And they're building so many apartments so quickly, they can't keep up getting tenants in there. So they rely on us as real estate professionals to send them potential tenants, to bring them potential tenants. I shouldn't say send them, because that's usually one caveat that you always have to show up with them. Otherwise, they're probably not going to get paid your commission there. But let's say it's and in the downtown area, I mean, you're looking at maybe about $1,500 for a studio apartment for some of these newer apartments. So if we're talking about 1 month's rent, that could be $1,500 up to, I mean, if we're talking about a 3-bedroom, maybe we'll say $3,000. They could get a little bit higher than that, but we'll say about $3,000 for a nice 2 or decent 3-bedroom property there. Now, if it's 2 months rent, that doubles this. This is now $3,000 to $6,000. So what you can do to try to attract the people that'd be looking for these rentals, because making $6,000, I mean, that's almost as much money as you'd make selling a home. And really, there might be homes that you've sold that you've got a lower commission check on that. A $100,000 home at 6% commission is $6,000. Split between 2 offices, that's only $3,000. So you can make double that for one of these unicorn, almost it seems like, rentals there. So what you could do, there's something called target marketing. And target marketing is trying to seek out and direct your message and your communications to a particular audience. And what I would recommend if you're trying to tap into the rental stuff here is becoming an expert in these units, becoming an expert in these developments, becoming an expert and the go-to resource. If you want to be able to collect these commissions, these payouts for this rent for $1,500 to $6,000, you want to be an expert. Because again, you've got to ask yourself the question, what makes you worth this? The better you understand what makes you worth whatever commission it is that you're getting paid, the better you'll be able to serve your clients, but also the more clients it is that you'll receive, because word will get out that you did a great job serving them. But on top of that, you'll be more confident, you'll be better able to speak to what it is that you can do for them. So become a specialist in the developments that offer these higher commissions. Now, you don't want to steer people just because of the commission. That's actually illegal. It's a violation of the National Association of Realtors Code of Ethics just to say, okay, well, this one's paying me $6,000, so I'm only going to take people to this apartment complex and I'll just make stuff up about the other one so they get that one. No, that's unethical and also illegal. It's steering based on commission. You're not allowed to do that. But you could seek people out that are interested in these. Now, not everyone's going to always rent one of these. They maybe will rent a $500 or $250 or even one that only pays out $50. And, you still make some money to cover some of your expenses here. Because really, and what you're doing, finding a rental, you're basically sending them information and saying, okay, which ones do you want to go look at? And taking them there to look at it. And that's what you do. So it's not like you're investing all kinds of time and effort for this year. So even making $50 on this, it's going to more than cover any gas it is that you spent or anything like that with it. Yes, it will take you away from higher profile activities. But, if somebody sees one of these apartments that are brand new, that are super nice, then they see an older property that's something like this here, they'll probably like the newer one better as well. So it's a sound strategy that a lot of real estate agents tap into. They become the specialist of these higher end apartment complexes that are new, that are exciting, that people are interested in, that maybe they want to move out of their old one into their new one, and they capitalize on these commissions it is that they pay out because they can be quite high. So research that. Research it at the very least if you're interested, especially if your market has a high saturation of renters as opposed to owners. The Tampa area, especially around like the downtown area, there's a lot of renters. There's absolutely more renters there right now in the downtown area than there are owners because most of the buildings aren't condo buildings, they're apartment buildings. So get to know that, get to understand that, so that way you could be an expert in some of these and then try to market yourself. Maybe do a video or an open house or something. You could collaborate with these communities to help them make money and at the same time make you money as well. So that's the residential rental side of all of this here. Property management, entirely different story, could get a little bit more complicated. Usually it's just a percentage of the rent for that. But we have one more that I want to talk about, and that's the commercial side, commercial sales and commercial leases. It's not really that difficult. It builds off of everything we've been talking about so far, but there's a few intricacies that you'll want to know, so stick with us. We're going to be back after this quick commercial break. I'm John Chrismo. You're watching Ask the Instructor.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com. Does your current career allow for unlimited income potential? With a career in real estate, the sky is the limit. What you put in is what you get out. Find out more about how you can tap into the unlimited income potential of a career in real estate at tampaschool.com.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
Ask the Instructor. Every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time. I'm John Chrismo. You're watching Ask the Instructor. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. I'm John Chrismo, and this show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. If you're interested in starting or enhancing your real estate career, make sure you give us a call. The phone number is below, 813-928-0106. You can also check us out online at tampaschool.com. Again, that's tampaschool.com. And you can also view all of the previous episodes of Ask the Instructor as well as State of Real Estate at tampaschool.com/success. But let's talk about commercial commission. Commercial commission. Now I was thinking it was maybe a tongue twister, but it doesn't sound like it. So yeah, not residential, but commercial. And how this is different. So the Really, the one thing that's different as far as the payout side of this is really two things. Number one, the prices are usually a lot higher than a typical residential transaction. But number two, the commission rates are usually a little bit lower to compensate and maybe offset that a little bit. So let's say that we've got a commercial sale here. And let's say that this commercial sale is $1 million. $1 million at 5% commission. Same thing like we did before. We take our sale price, multiply it by the 5%. 5% of $1 million would give us $50,000. Now, there probably will still be a split, but if there's not, that whole $50,000 goes into the one particular brokerage. But if there is the split between the two brokerage, the listing and the buying, that's still going to be split up $25,000 and $25,000, or however the deal specifies. Because it might be 6% and maybe 3% going to this side, 2% going to or 4% going to this side, 2% going to that side, or maybe with this 5%, maybe 3% here, maybe 2% there, or it could just be an even 2.5, 2.5, and that's what we figured right here. So it depends on what's in the agreement. If it's in the MLS, it will say what this side is going to be, what the percentage is for the buying side of it. So pretty easy to figure out there. And that's the commercial sale. It's really no different than what we were figuring for the residential sales, except for the dollar amounts are usually bigger, commissions are usually smaller. That's not always the case. The commissions can actually be larger in certain cases for more special purpose types of commercial properties as well, maybe a little bit more difficult to sell properties, but it does depend on the type of transaction. The commercial spans a lot larger spectrum of businesses, of different types of property, and it could really get pretty finite. We could be talking about apartment complexes. There's a lot of different types of properties that could be called commercial. So it varies greatly, and so can the prices and the percentage of commissions as well. But let's talk about one that is going to be a little bit different, and you could actually structure residential leases this way as well. But commercial leases are almost always structured based off of the total rent across the total term of the lease. So commercial, when I first started dealing with commercial properties and looking at these, I'm like, what are they talking about? This is $12 a square foot. What they're paying? They're leasing it based off of the square footage. Well, how much is the rent then off of this here? Does that mean 1,000 square foot? That's going to be $12,000 a month. So let's pull those numbers that I just went through right there. Let's say we've got 1,000 square feet. Let's say that it is $12 a square foot. And we're doing a 10-year lease. So let's first understand what the rent is on this property. We've got to understand what the rent is first and foremost before we could figure out what our commission is going to be, because it's based off of the entire 10 years of what the rent is that we're going to get paid commission on. So let's do that first and foremost, figure out what the rent is. And to figure out the rent, we're going to take these two, the $1,000 and the $12 a square foot. We're going to multiply them together, and we're going to get $12,000. Now, $12,000 is not the monthly rent, this is the annual rent. But pretty much no landlord accepts payments annually, they're taking payments monthly. Although if you wanted to pay them annually, they probably would accept it because you're paying in advance, not at the end. So usually monthly is how most of them are structured. So we take this $12,000. We're going to divide that by 12 months. You can see where I'm going with this here. That comes up to $1,000 a month. So our $12,000 was the total rent per year, which yields us $1,000 a month. So it's as easy as that. It's taking your square footage of the property, multiplying it by the price per square foot. That gives you the total annual rent. You just then divide that by 12, and now you've got your monthly rent. So pretty easy calculation to do. But we're not done yet, because our commission isn't based on 1,000. It isn't based on 12,000. It's based on 12,000 times 10. So if we take that $12,000 and multiply it by the 10 years, because it's a 10-year lease, we get $120,000. That's the value of this deal, $120,000. And now your commission gets paid off of that $120,000. And then it's back to our normal type of split that we would have. So on $120,000, let's say it's a 6% commission. So 120,000 times 6% gives us $7,200. And then split, let's say if you're listing it and leasing it, $7,200 is what goes into your office. And if that gets split between two offices, that'd be $3,600 per office. So really, once we get to the actual commission dollar amount here, really once we get to the value, that's basically like the sale price when we're dealing with the lease here. And everything we've been doing so far is going to be pretty much the same with that. But it does get a little bit tricky when you're dealing with commercial leasing because they do go off of this price per square foot. It's usually price per square foot annually. I have seen in a few instances something advertised as price per square foot monthly, which does make it a little bit easier because you don't have to add that extra divide by 12. But if it doesn't say so, assume that it's the price per square foot annually of the property. And then there also may be other expenses on top of that, CAM fees, triple net fees, things like that. So the commercial leasing, it is kind of exciting because there is money to be made with this here. And we're only talking about a very small property, 1,000 square foot and $12 a square foot. That's a pretty low rent depending on where the market is. But in the Tampa market, $12 a square foot is a fairly low rent. It's a very low rent compared to a lot of the properties that are out there. There's some properties that I've seen leasing as much as $60 a square foot annually, so that does get quite a bit more expensive out there depending on the type of property. But that's commercial leases, so definitely exciting stuff as well. It depends on if maybe you're new to real estate and you're saying, well, what should I look at? Should I look at residential? Should I look at commercial? Most people are going to be most comfortable in residential property. Why? Because you probably have some place that you call home, some place it is that you live in. Not everyone has a property that they rent for a business, which is primarily what you're doing with a commercial lease. Now, if you do have something like that and that interests you, then maybe you could look at the commercial leasing because you'll probably vibe with that a little bit better, better understand what the renters are looking for, how to deal with the landlords, how to negotiate this better. So it depends, but there's definitely a lot more transactions, quantity of transactions. There's so many more transactions that occur in the residential space. With commercial, it's a more limited market, so you have to spread yourself out a little bit further, travel a little bit further to get to different clients, but it can still be a very lucrative way to earn a living in real estate. But that's all I've got for you guys today. Thank you for tuning in. If you missed any part of this episode, go back to tampaschool.com/success. Again, that's tampaschool.com/success. And you could find all of the previous episodes of Ask the Instructor, of State of Real Estate, all kinds of articles, helpful tools, calculators, things like that. So check that out. It's tampaschool.com/success. Thank you guys for tuning in today. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing the stream. I really enjoyed having you on here today and explaining this real estate stuff to you. So I'll see you on Friday for State of Real Estate and next week on Wednesday for Ask the Instructor. But that's all I've got for you guys today. You can have a great rest of your day.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com. Does your current career allow for unlimited income potential? With a career in real estate, the sky is the limit. What you put in is what you get out. Find out more about how you can tap into the unlimited income potential of a career in real estate at tampaschool.com.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
Ask the Instructor. Every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time. I'm John Chrismo. You're watching Ask the Instructor.